Welcome to my objective Star Wars tier list where I will be very, very biased. Today, we will be ranking a lot of Star Wars movies. I have already made a video on Revenge of the Sith on another channel, which is right here. You can check that out right now. It's right over here. Click right there. Let's start from the beginning. 1977, A New Hope. I think it's the perfect entry into Star Wars. It's a great setup for the world's premise. Space Nazis ruling over the galaxy, but then a blonde twink shows up and foils their evil plans. It has a strong sense of mysticism. The intricacies to the ship design, the texture of alien creatures, and the locations all create this huge sense of scale.
This is Red 5, I'm going in.
It's wild to think that this was pretty much all done with practical effects. And for 1977, it's mad impressive. Nothing else at the time really compares. The opening sequence, still one of the most iconic moments ever. Like, that shit was so cool. I've always liked episode 4, but on this rewatch, I've gained a new appreciation for it. Besides the cool visuals, Luke's hero's journey is compelling. I forgot how dark they got in this one too. The first scene that comes to my mind is when Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen kick the bucket. Obi-Wan guiding Luke into this larger world creates a real sense of mystery. Who is Darth Vader? What are the Clone Wars? How did the Empire rise in power? It really does feel like this world could exist in a galaxy far, far away. Some people say this is a timeless movie, but I think that's mostly because of Gunk Droid. I don't really have a lot to say on it. I think it's muy bueno, very good.
Oh Lord! I really like Empire because
it raises attention by making it clear that even though the rebels may have blown up the Death Star in episode 4, they're still the underdog. Darth Vader's on their ass, dude. And Luke's getting fucked up, Han's getting fucked up. They're all just losing to the Empire. And that's really interesting to watch. It's exciting. Vader's shadow hangs over the whole movie, and it feels ever present in this one. He's in constant pursuit of Solo's group, so I never feel like they're out of danger. Luke chooses to face Vader and gets put down like a dog. I would consider this the darkest movie in the original trilogy. For it being that, it's actually really funny. I found myself cracking up a lot of the moments there, especially with Han.
Alright, that's it! Right! Oh, turn it off! Turn it off! Turn it off!
I really enjoy the pacing of the film. The party gets thrown into constant encounters. Feels like the world hits another layer. Like, you can see more of the world, the culture of it, and that's why I think it hits so much harder. Like, you get to see the bounty hunters, you get to see the Cloud City, we get Dagobah, we get the Force, the parallel storytelling, really cool. The effects, really cool. The music is fire. Just surprisingly, the stakes feel higher, even though in episode 4 they literally blew up the Death Star. There's way more character drama, Lando dealing with Vader, Han's bounty, and the triumphant return of Gunk Droid. So, if I was gonna rank Empire, where am I putting Empire, guys? Where would I put Empire? S tier, baby.
That's fire.
And we move on to Return of the Jedi, that released in 1983. Don't forget that. The first act is like we're at Jabba's palace, where we're like trying to save Han, and these nasty motherfuckers are holding him hostage. It's gross. It's vile. It's trifling. And then we have the ending scene with Vader and Palpatine and Luke, right? And that's powerful moment, top 3 moment in the entire series, right? Like, I think rewatching it hit a lot harder than I thought it would, to be honest. Like, the slow buildup of despair as like Luke is watching the rebels getting destroyed, and then Palpatine's like rage baiting him to be like, the power of the dark side. There's like a real sense of doom. So he's about to do it. He's about to turn. Luke, don't do it. Don't do it. So my favorite moment is when like Luke is getting electrocuted by Palpatine, right? And then Darth Vader's like watching on. They cut to like a close-up of him, and then his expressionless stare says so much. I'm gonna get a little film nerdy here. The Cooley Shop effect. It's pretty much a film concept where showing 2 different shots back to back creates a meaning that you wouldn't get if they were shown separately. We linger on his face longer than the other shots, and it's a moment where you're like, oh shit, like he's contemplating, He's turning to the good side, the light side. Anakin is still in there. So, I'm saying all that, right? Those two very heavy, dark, I would say more edgy, more mature tones in the movie. And then slapped in the middle is this cute little bear village. It's meant to be a breather in the plot, but I find the shift in tones jarring, and honestly, it's just kind of boring. On top of that, they throw in some really cheesy ass humor that undercuts the weight of everything going on. It's really whack.
Hey!
Online fans consider it one of the weaker ones in Star Wars rankings. A lot of people point to the Ewoks being kind of lame, and I kind of agree. While on Endor, they lead more into the slapstick comedy, and I think it takes away a lot of the tension. I will say one thing, I mean, this goes across like the whole Star Wars in general, but like the musical motifs are just iconic, bro. Iconic. Like if I played this sound clip right here, we all have to see it in our head about where this comes from. We just know. It really shows how goated John Williams' scores are, that they can leave such an impression. I like Jedi, but it's going in the
A tier.
It has been 16 years since the release of Return of the Jedi, and Lucas has now announced The Phantom Menace, Episode 1. Phantom Menace sucks, bro. I'm sorry guys. I don't. Phantom Menace enjoyers, please don't crucify me.
Now let's see how well you fare against my Biden blast.
My biggest issue holding this film back is the writing. Surprise, surprise. This will be a reoccurring flaw of the prequels. Characters feel like cardboard cutouts, and they're only there to push the plot ahead until our next epic, cool moment. The movie opens up with the Trade Federation invading Naboo over a trade dispute, all because Palpatine said so. There's no pushback, there's no context on the politics, no rise of tension. It just starts with the war, which is fine on its own, but none of it feels like it happened organically. Instead, it feels like a cutscene from an obscure PS2 game.
Begin landing our troops.
My lord, is that legal?
I will make it legal.
And it wasn't even the politics. I like the politics in Star Wars. I really do. I think that's what makes the prequels so much more fun. It gives it a lot of weight. But like this movie it takes forever to go anywhere. They struggle to get me to care about the story. Every character falls so flat. Like Qui-Gon, he's alright. Obi-Wan, he's alright. None of the characters are outright bad, except probably Jar Jar. I never really hated him before, but on this rewatch, he is annoying. He's the slapstick comedic relief that isn't funny. I find it frustrating to watch him just fuck shit up. He's the equivalent of Merry and Pippin from Lord of the Rings. The positives on it, the pod racing scene was cool. Darth Maul scene was even cooler. And Duel of Fates is a cool song. I will say, the prequels, the costume design is like next level. I give him props for that, man. Like Padme's always fitted up. You can tell George had a clear vision, and with the more advanced technology, he could really bring it to life. The attention to detail is impressive and makes for a cool and unique viewing experience. But that does not say Phantom Menace. I put the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. All right, this one I'm a little this one I'll be more controversial on. I think this movie sucks. Suffers from pacing issues. Not as egregious as Phantom Menace, but I think it suffers enough for it to be a non-enjoyable experience, I think, for the most part. But I like the romance. It's cheesy, it's corny, but I like it. Angsty boy gets the baddie. They're both freaks for each other, and I fuck with that. I would even go as far to say it's the best romance in all of cinema.
Biden blast!
It's more interesting to follow Anakin and Obi-Wan versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. These guys are just more fleshed out and don't feel as stilted. And while we still do swing from plot point to plot point, the journey is more interesting. We get a deeper look into the Republic, into politics, Coruscant, and the mystery of the clone army. When it comes to sheer world building, the prequels clear the OT, hands down. It's honestly the big reason I can still enjoy these today. I always bitch about spectacle, but the Battle of Geonosis is a top 10 Star Wars moment. Ooh, one of my favorite shots is at the end. The Clone Army in formation, and they're all like marching up, and it's like Imperial March music. I think it's the Imperial March track as Palpatine watches over it from like a balcony. And it's such a cool shot. I think it's such a, like, it's like a foreshadow of
what's to come.
These are the clones that will become stormtroopers in the future, and that will be like part of the Empire. So I think that's a very cool moment there. Yeah, I think it's, yeah, I like it. I like Attack of the Clones. And would I rewatch it? Maybe not. Attack of the Clones, B. Okay, now it's 2005, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. This is my favorite Star Wars film ever. It's a very flawed movie, I get that, but what it brings to the table has stuck with me. Anakin's arc from hero to villain hits you in the feels, man. Order 66? Damn. Battle of Mustafar? Damn. He didn't get the rank of master? Damn. I'm not gonna talk about it here because I made a whole video on it right over here. So if you want to see my full opinion on Revenge of the Sith, you can go check that out right over there. Right there, you should check that out right now. I'll rank it anyways. It is going in the S tier, baby. Goes in S tier. I love it. We've gone through the prequels. Now we are on the reboot. The Force Awakens was like the hottest shit ever. I was losing my mind. Star Wars fans were creaming their pants. And I remember going into the premiere, I snuck in a lightsaber and I was holding it the whole movie. It was at the end of the Kylo Ren fight and everyone's clapping and I unsheathed my lightsaber like, shoo. And looking back, it's so cringe. It's so fucking cringe, but I don't regret it. I do not regret it. Starry-eyed boy looking to the future of Star Wars and being like, oh my god, they're gonna do it. These are gonna make the best Star Wars movies ever. They're gonna bring back my childhood.
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
You can't really talk about The Force Awakens without bringing up Episode 4. It's basically a beat-for-beat copy. The locations, the story, the Death Star, even Luke's character arc. I think it's a fine idea to like reintroduce Star Wars to the modern audiences back then, which I'm like, okay, I get it, but it was just a lazy way of going about it, in my opinion. I think the few things that make it stand out, which unfortunately they never really build up on, the internal conflict of Finn, being a stormtrooper, now he's turned to the good side, and then there's Kylo, who was good, then turned to the dark side, but then is now conflicted on it. I think those two ideas are character arcs very interesting. Rey, on the other hand, could have been interesting, but they just made her a Mary Sue, and you really get moments of that in The Force Awakens. I think the worst scene in the film is the ending Kylo Rey fight, because literally Kylo gets dogged on by Rey, who has no fucking training in a lightsaber. Compare that to Episode 5, where Luke trains with Yoda, then faces Vader and Bespin, and gets absolutely clowned. It fucks with the power scaling, that it delegitimizes her feats. I will say they had balls to kill off Han Solo. I thought that was great. I was like, damn, they just did my boy like that. Like, Kylo, you a bitch. Not the worst Star Wars movie, but
I mean, it's alright, like.
Alright, boys. Next up, we got Rogue One 2016. The final act where the crew is on Scarif, stealing the Death Star plans, is so epic. You get the sense that not everyone is gonna make it, and it's really bittersweet. And I'm a miserable and I like when things end in tragedy. It just makes it hit harder and feel more resonant to me, And one of that ending is like still hit me, even though like the characters weren't the deepest characters. They just really weren't. But I think their deaths hit hard because they are grounded in these like very personal motivations, and I think this will make their sacrifice that much more potent. The impending doom as each one is picked off felt like something out of 1917. Then the rebel call comes in that there's no making it off the planet. It gives off Order 66 vibes. Aesthetically, I really like Scarif. we never gotten a tropical planet for the big screen. I like the little accents, like the variant TIE fighter designs, Vader's castle. My biggest gripe with Rogue One is that the characters fall flat. The motivation feels really rushed, and like the reason for them joining the rebellion is like, okay.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
At the end of the day, it really felt like Star Wars compared to the later sequel films that feel like it dilutes it. It was a nice fresh of breath air. I constantly shit on Disney, but Rogue One is one of their bright spots. Rogue One, I liked it a lot more in release, but after rewatching it, I gotta knock it down a bit. Alright, next up, we're going to 2019, The Last Jedi.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
Everyone shits on this one, and for good reason. There's so little respect for Star Wars. The story and characters actively tear down what came before. The whole thing feels like they're trying so hard to not be a Star Wars movie while pretending it is one. It's like the writers didn't watch any of the previous movies and decided, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Like, if you were gonna make Luke this guy who's like pessimistic, a nihilist, he's like, man, fuck this shit, I can't do it no more, Jedi are done. I think that is fine, but you gotta give me a good enough reason for him to do that. And what they portrayed in the movies was that he saw that Kylo was gonna destroy the Jedi Order, so he tried to kill him in his sleep. That feels like not a good enough reason for him to do that. It feels very out of character. This is Luke, the guy who was like, nah, Darth Vader, he has some good in him, I can save him. When that guy was fucking murdering planets, he was annihilating people, leading a whole fucking empire, and no one thought he was gonna be redeemable, you know? Like Obi-Wan, Yoda, they were like, nah, let that guy die, like, no, he's part of the dark side, you gotta kill him. Luke was like, nah, I can save him, I know I can. And then for him to betray his character for this, it feels forced, it doesn't feel genuine or organic. It's just for the sake of subverting expectations. They turned Luke to this fucking farmer hermit dude who was like, I hate everything. It just doesn't work. I think it falls flat on his face, and that's why people hate it. We were looking forward to Luke, and now it's like, okay, we don't even like Luke because that's not Luke. That's not my Luke. I'm not saying I deserve this version of Luke, but you gotta give me something that resembles Luke, because this was not him. This is a different character. It just doesn't correlate to what we saw in the last 3 movies of the arc. Also, the whole Finn and Arc Rose on the gambling planet, she was ass. Just so pointless. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Nothing. That's what we're doing. Just filling in time. And even when I first watched it, I remember the hate, and I said, no. I'll contain myself, my judgment, until I watch the film, and then I'll decide on my own merits. And I still thought it was trash. I don't think it's a good movie. I think it sucks for what it tries to do. Alright, before we get back to it, the few things going for this film is that it feels a lot like Empire. There's a constant sense of impending doom as the First Order closes in on the rebels. It keeps a tight pacing and never really feels boring. The world building is solid, a big step up from Force Awakens, which isn't saying much, but it's something. And honestly, the dogfights in the sequels are some of the coolest. That's really all I can give it credit for. The Last Jedi just undermines what Star Wars is. It's meant to subvert expectations, but the execution is careless and sloppy. The story arc is smooth brained at best. I think the concept is interesting, but the execution is straight ass. So for that, you are going nipple clamps tier. Next up on the list, we have The Rise of Skywalker. Holy shit, what a piece of shit, man. It's such a slap in the face to what Star Wars is and what fans would expect from this series. Just a creatively bankrupt story.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
With lame ass callbacks that expect the viewer to be like, Palpatine's back! Oh my god! Like, they couldn't double down on the bullshit of The Last Jedi. Like, we're gonna throw as many nostalgia flashbacks, nostalgia bait as we can to get you to ignore all the bullshit that's happening and how this story is ass and how we don't know how to wrap it up, how we had no plan for this series, this sequel series at all. We're just winging it. No, it's Star Wars, it can't fail. Like, there's no fucking way it failed, right? And it failed. I would have respected them more if they doubled down on what The Last Jedi did. But no. Disney's such a fucking pussy when it comes to making movies. They gotta teeter-totter on like, but the general audiences want this. We gotta maximize audience attention for the blah 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 blah. We don't need a good story. We just need fireworks. They'll eat that up. Like, we're not dumb. I mean, some of us are pretty stupid, but the majority of us just want a good story, man. I have now watched Rise of Skywalker twice, and I'd rather hook my nuts to jumper cables than watch it a third time. It dilutes Star Wars as a whole. I think that most fans can agree with me that they don't even consider the sequels canon. Technically they are, but people treat them like a bad fanfic. I don't even know a single person who actually likes the sequels. They were such a dumpster fire that now people call the prequels masterpieces. And while I love hearing that, I don't agree. If you like the sequels, good for you. But disrespectfully, I don't respect your opinion. Call me pretentious, but I can't see how you could watch the 6 other movies and still enjoy this mess. I'm not entitled to anything, obviously, but to see a franchise you enjoy in series just be mishandled so poorly is so... It's so tragic. It's so depressing. It really shifted how I viewed like movies. These corporations like just mass producing these superhero films, these big blockbusters, trying to get as much profit as you can. That's like the only thing they care about. They give a fuck less about story and like impact and like what it tells and what kind of social commentary it makes or themes or anything like that. It's just, it doesn't matter. As long as people go watch it, that's all they care about. And they make a bare-boned, mediocre story, but if people like it enough and make enough profit off of it, that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what else. Rise of Skywalker, you deserve death. And not quick and painless, but slow and torturous for all to see. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, leave a wizard emote in the comments. Let me know what you guys think of my opinions. Am I brain dead or am I actually a genius? I know I didn't cover Solo, I haven't seen it, so I'll probably make a standalone video for it on my other channel. I also want to thank my patrons. This guy right here, he's my day one. Thanks for hanging out with me. Have a good one, guys.